want Britain going green and putting out all these storage heaters everywhere when you've got gaping holes near windows? You've got extractor fans, because that's the answer to damp house apparently, is 2 extractor fans that suck all the heat out of your house.
Yeah.
And just pump it into the environment quicker than any coal fire.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay, because as long as it's making money and the power station is getting theirs from over here, there and everywhere. If I've got gas and I'm burning gas, that would be okay, because all that it's being sucked out of there, you know? That's fine, as long as it keeps the house. I mean, what is this? What is this really?
Yeah.
Lacking of insulation in the loft, because they've known about a problem here for a very long time. And I'm sure that it's in many other houses, but people don't know enough to know whether their house is potentially causing them health problems, because they just don't know enough. They've not been taught anything in construction. They haven't researched this. They haven't gone on their own path, their own journey to look at it. And to be quite frank, they don't need to. They shouldn't have to. That's the bit that's poor enough in this. That you've got experts that check things over. You've got councils that are supposed to know better. And yet all you want to do is just hide all of this shite. And that's where it really grates me. And this is you knowing better. This is you walking as an authority that is supposed to be better than anything else.
No.
That does not speak it to me. This would be all picked away and it would be put back into the correct place. The armed services, intelligence agencies and all sorts of NHS doctors, everyone's wages will be increased and they have better wages. There will be money in a pot to keep us going on new projects, let's say, or let's go space, or let's go here, or let's make some space farms or some underground farms, better food, better medicine. And we start favouring livelihood of everybody in the United Kingdom, so that when people look at our nation from afar, they think, wow, I'd love to have some of that here.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe, just maybe in that, we light a fire. We raise that bar high. And then around the world, people start to really feel this. When they begin to feel it, what happens? We get more breakthroughs starting to come through. Space becomes more and more and more readily available. More resources coming in. Either or, you can rebuild on the Earth and make things all insulated here, or you can start a brand new project right above you. It makes more sense for me, personally, to put it into that. Insulating into a farm, a solar farm somewhere, which then has another module on it, or on the moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Insulating that, finding ways to remove the heat, bring in the cold with natural, and working with the flow. You need lights, okay, they get hot, okay, we can use the cold air to move this to... Once the lights have made in the farm have been, you know, utilised to heat up a little bit and look after the plants and get them growing there, that heat that's been generated, well, are there house modules on here? Yes, well, can we move that air? Because humans are very funny things, really. They like heat just like plants don't like it. Not much. Let's move that heat into a module somewhere else, yeah? Oh, yeah, I need some heat in here. And you take it from the lights. I mean, that's a win-win. Oh, the carbon that we're breathing out, oh, it goes back into the module this side. That side, this side, that side. Can we grow more plants that they start converting carbon into oxygen far more faster than we can breathe it out? Can we keep forests awake? They only grow for minimal. There's a difference between humans and nature. We're awake all year. Problem is, with not hibernating, is you cause a very big... You disturb the balance. It's okay when humans are small sizes, but when the human numbers get quite big, staying awake during winter and heavily using the resources is a big, big problem. Each and every single year. This runs away in the negative to us. It's not about worrying about it right now. The problem is looking at it and thinking, yeah, we're still in a position where we can do something about that. But it's going to require having a forest that is awake during the winter. What's above ground opens up in the summer, but we're also going to need to make an artificial summer underneath the ground when winter comes on. So when autumn hits, these forests will be designed underground to start waking up. When the ones on the surface start to shut down, these ones start to open out. Their vent gas is oxygen. Because we use more carbon, because it's a little bit colder, but if we can take that carbon and put it into these underground farms, they will naturally start to convert in the opposite. Then you have balance restored. I haven't got to worry about things so much. And then if they are growing fast, then you have more wood, you've got more resources, you've got more food. Whether it's a farm, a forest, we need something that balances so that when the land masses start to, again, if we had all of this money in the pot, hindsight, if you could predict into the future, that's what a government needs to be able to do in order to protect everybody under that niche. We'd have this money so that we could start converting it. If we're only using this much of farmland, why can't we build something underneath it? And while we're there, can we pull some fresher soil up from down there? Put that on the crust, because we get a lot of rhizomania. Interesting. The soil from the Mesolithic, yes?
Yeah.
Very, very rich.
Yeah.
And in that process, above the farm, we grow like normal, but underneath it, the farmland, underneath the cities, we start building greenhouses of food, of forests. It doesn't matter what it is, but these are designed to be in the opposite hemisphere. When winter rolls in and that all shuts, this one is beginning to open out. Then we should stop seeing from NASA the ratio of when they put the probe up from year to year.
Yeah.
There's over a few years, but even still, we'll stop seeing us rising carbon and diminishing oxygen. And then when summer comes, it starts to go back the other way.
Yeah.
We'll stop seeing that. What we should see is at the very least, it will start to dip, but then cater back up, and it'll keep up with the oxygen versus carbon ratio. And I think that will be good for us long term. If the planet is getting more warmer, I'm a great believer in hot age and cold age. Much like we have seasons over a longer period of time, I think we have seasons of hotter and colder, ice age and hot age. Not that it's going to get above too hot, and not that it gets too cold. Yes, ice age is very much well documented. But I think on the grand scheme, there are small cycles, a bit like a Mayan calendar, a small cog, that is from hot, cold, summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter, and it begins to wane from ice to heat, then from heat back to ice in between these smaller. This is how I see it. Just looks like cogs that formulate a larger cog, or calendar, Mayan, if you want to put it that way. That's how I see that. And with that, wouldn't we learn, if we'd been around long enough to see it, wouldn't we learn to be able to live within that mechanism? And again, this is good for space travel. This is good for where we're at, I believe. And if we were in space and we have this situation that we're facing now, well, when it gets more closer to winter months, we can just be more in the sunlit side. When it's too hot, we go more in the shaded area. I think that would be it's the only way to keep the species going from extinction. That is the only way to do it. We've got to learn from somewhere. And sometimes kicking in the arse with the councils and different things, yeah, perhaps you've got your hands tied, but you're going to need to see a way forwards. And I don't think you see it for what it truly is. And it just undermines everything, because, we start claiming global warming and heating and this, that and the other, and environment and everything, but nothing's matching. How can you ignore all of this? Oh, it was just that's not an oversight. I'm not trained to look for that, but I found it just by following that initiative to be how you are meant to be? Well, I learned it from my course. Well, then there's something wrong there somewhere in my understanding of that, and it would need shaping in order for that to even benefit everybody in it, including you, and including the tops, all the way to the bottom, although I don't agree with that in that sort of structure. I think it's all equal, and each part, every player has a role. But it's where you go forward from that, I think. So, yeah, hybrid, very nice. Electric cars, also wonderful. Hydrogen fuel to charge them, even great, wonderful. This would be Tesla Mark II, I think. Now you've got your fleet of electric cars. Where's your fast charging hydrogen? Yeah, use hydrogen fuel to fast charge up your batteries. Wonderful. Water produce, hydrocarbons, good for the environment. Anyone wants to do their bit, they will willingly do it. Again, but it takes a company like that to stand and have a plan, a way forwards, to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to start with this. Okay, my next step would be this. Okay, and then my next step's going to be this, and as a byproduct, it could move on to farming if you collected that gas. Yeah, I think that's the way it needs to go. And collecting carbon is probably far more beneficial. Because you can take this carbon and what can you use it for? Well, fizzy drinks. What else could you use it for? I wonder if I can grow with that. I wonder if I can grow this, and this. So yeah, that's where I would move a government. That's how I would operate. My government would work in this way. And damn, it couldn't just be done with one person. It would be all the hands that filtered down throughout this to be all one that moves as I don't know, a clock is the greatest way to put that, really. All cogs have to move, and it can't be done without you versus them versus you, and everybody says that, you versus them. Yeah. If you get what I mean. Yeah. So everyone says it won't work without me, without you. Yeah. And I think that's that sort of unity there, that you know that it's going to take more than one, but it's going to take more than everyone that looks up to the next one, then looks down to the other one, which looks across to the other one, which looks across to the other one. No one's higher or lower than the other. You're all operating together as one function. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here because I think I've said enough, but yeah, that's how I envision it. That's how I see it. That we then have this new set of politics that cradles all of us within it. And then that keeps a legacy going for everybody in that, and then it rises the bar for other people to inspire to keep within the system. And the system with the money pot, which then is better growth for jobs and better paid jobs, resources and different things like that. It's always got something there to keep that moving. To keep it moving wherever it may move. I think that would be a good system to have. Where when you pay your bill, it's going back into the pot. When you pay this, it's going back into that pot. Knowing that our kids, grandkids, grandchildren and all the rest of it never have to go through this shit ever again. This corruption, this mess, this greed over health, over... And then I'm better than you and I get to now play power game with you. Well, what's that power game then, Sir CEO? You know? Well, I have the power whether I say yes or no to fixing that. And it's a very important part to play, and I think it needs responsibility, and I think that responsibility on one person's shoulders is clear that when it's down to one person, they abuse the power. But when it's down to the many, it's harder to abuse. And then it stops us stagnating. Yeah, and no other generation will have to ever go through this again. Because I'm not being funny, but this has been pretty hard. And I speak for myself and others that I've seen go through this. And the way that they've transformed out of it. They may not be victims. But those scars shouldn't have to be there if could be helped. And what's more, they shouldn't have to walk with that extra load. Life is challenging enough. You've got to get over death, birth, problems, different things like that. Your own self in the world. I mean, those extra scars are unnecessary to walk with. life is strenuous enough. That is just an insult. So that's where I would see my government, our nation, our government, for it sounds more better. That's what I see our government doing, and all our people together working towards that to make the land better and the experience more better for other people that are going to rise up after us. And I think that's the best gift to ever give. A gift that keeps on giving throughout the generations. Not taking some system from pyramid somewhere and just abusing it. That's not it. So the sin of all sins for me is abusing that. That's not about power. The power to be able to say yes or no. Do I like you? Do I don't? No, that's not it. I'm gonna leave it there.